Hey everyone, welcome back to Code with Poonam. If you're new here, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more coding tutorials. We are on day 5 of our 30-day pattern challenge. And today's pattern is all about printing a right angle triangle where each row is filled with its row number. So let's proceed with the challenge and we will move towards our VS Code. If you see here, we have here our question, right? So what is the question? We have to write a JavaScript function to print a right angle triangle. And here is the output which we are supposed to get. Now we will come at line number 8 and we will break down our question and we will note down the important parts from here. So if we see here, we have to write a JS function, right? So I will take this and I am going to put it over here. After that, what is being said that we have to print here a right angle triangle, right? So that also I will take it and I am going to put it over here. Now let us come at line number 8 and we are going to define the function name. So we will keep our function name as what? Print pattern. So I will just write it over here and this will be our function name. Now if we see here the output, what we are supposed to get? We are supposed to get here what? A right angle triangle, right? So that is what we have written here. Now to achieve this pattern, we will write our approach. So let us come down and we will write here what? Our approach. Okay. So now here, first of all, what we will do, we will create an variable. Okay. So I will just write here what? Create an variable. And that variable is going to hold what? It is going to hold our final output. Okay. So that is why we are creating it. So it is going to hold our final pattern or we can say our final output. And this variable, we are going to initialize with an empty string. Okay. So I will write here what? Let str is equal to empty quotes. Okay, this means it is going to be initialized with an empty string. Okay, and this is going to hold our output. Okay, so that is what I am going to write it over here. After that, in this question, since we have to print a certain pattern here, so we will be using here what? Our nested loops. Okay, so I will just write here what? Nested loops. Now what is a nested loop? Loop inside a loop is called as what? Nested loop. So I will just write here what? Loop inside and loop. Okay, and in this question also we are going to use two loops itself. So I will write here what? Our outer loop I am going to write and we are going to write here what? Our inner loop. Okay, now our outer loop and inner loop is going to do what? Our outer loop is going to control the number of rows. Okay, and our inner loop is going to control what? Our number of columns. So that is what I'm going to write it over here. So I will just take this outer loop and we will put it over here. And here I will write what? It is going to control our number of rows. Okay, and we will come down and we will write here what? Inner loop, and it is what going to do? It is going to control our number of columns. Okay, so let me write it over here. Now since we have to take two loops, that is outer and inner loop, so we will come here and we will assume that this will be our I loop. Okay, and we will come down and we will assume that this will be our J loop. Okay, this is what we are going to consider it. Okay, now we will come above and we will understand how many rows is there, how many columns is there. Okay, so that all from this particular output we are going to understand, and then eventually we will write our entire logic. Okay, so let us take this and we are just going to put it over here. Okay, now this is our pattern. So let us identify how many rows we have. So if you see, our line number 18 is our first row, line number 19 is our second row, right? Then line number 20 is our third row, and then our line number 21 is our fourth row, right? So this is our 4 rows we have here, and this is what? This is nothing but our I loop, right? So I will write it here also that this is our I loop. Let us come down and write it here. This is our I loop. This is also our I loop. And this will be our I loop because there are 4 rows and it is going to run for our rows, right? So this will be our I loop, which we are going to write it over here. Now let us understand how many columns we have here. So we can easily see this is our first column, right? So I will come here and I'll write 1, okay? Then we can see this is our second column. So I will write here what? 2. Then we will come here and we will see that this is our third, right? So here also 3 I will write, and the last one where 4 is there, that is our fourth column, correct? So this is our column. So here we have how many columns? 4 columns, right? And how many rows we have? We have 4 rows. Now we will come here and we will just write here what? This is our J loop. So let me just write it over here. So this is our J loop and that is our I loop, okay? Now, let us understand where this loop is going to start and where these loops are going to terminate, okay? So, we will write here what? Our I loop. So, I'll write here what? Our I loop, and I'll write here what? Our J loop, okay? And here we are going to write where it is going to start, and I'll write here where it is going to end. And the same thing, I'm just going to put it for our J loop also, okay? Now, let us understand first with respect to our I loop, what will be the start and what will be the end, okay? So, if we see our I loop is starting at what? 1, right? And where it is ending at 4. So, obviously, it is for the number of rows, right? It is going to control our number of rows. So, it is going to start at 1 and it is going to end at what? 4, okay? And we will just write here what? N is equal to 4. So, that whatever will be the end here, I am just going to store it inside our N variable. So that is what I am writing it over here, okay? Now let us go for our J loop, okay? So where our J loop is going to start, definitely it is going to start at 1 itself, right? So we can see it is starting at 1, okay? So I am just going to write here the start will be at 1. So if our I value is 2, it is going to run 2 times. If our I value is 3, it is going to run 3 times, right? And if our I value is 4, it is going to run 4 times, right? That is what we are getting. So our end will be what? It will be with respect to our I. So I will write here what? End will be our I, okay? Now let us see what will be our condition which we are going to write it. So I will write here what? I is equal to 1. I should be less than or is equal to N, right? And I plus plus. This will be for our I loop. Now what will be for our J loop? So I will write here what? J is equal to 1, okay? Then J should be less than or is equal to our I. And then J plus plus. Why we are writing this? Because it is ending every time with respect to our I value itself. That is why we are writing here what condition? J should be less than or is equal to I. That is what we have written here. Now let us come down and we will write our for loops, okay? So let us come here and we will write here what? For, and inside this we are going to write what? Let I is equal to 1. I should be less than or is equal to N, correct? And then I plus plus. Then it will go inside and we are going to write our J loop also. That is our inner loop, right? So let us write here our for, then let. Then we will write here what? J is equal to 1, correct? Then J should be less than or is equal to our I, and then J plus plus, correct? Now we will come inside our for loop, that means our J loop, right? Then we are going to understand here what we are going to print. We have to print this particular pattern, right? That is nothing but our I values. That is what I said. It is running with respect to our I value and it is printing the I value itself. You can see here very clearly when I is equal to 1, our J loop is running 1 time and it is printing the I value. When I loop is 2, it is running for 2 times and both the times it is printing our I value itself, right? Similarly for 3 and similarly for 4 also. That is where we will come here and we are going to concatenate our I value to our str variable, okay? So we will use this our str variable, that is nothing but this variable. So we will come down and we are going to write here what? Str plus is equal to I, okay? This is what we are going to write it. So what it will do, it will concatenate inside our str variable, that is nothing but our string variable, okay? After this loop is going to end, we will take our cursor to our next line. So that is where what we are going to do, we will write here what? Str plus is equal to double quotes backward slash n. That means this will refer to our next line. So it is going to take to the next line, okay? And then finally we are going to print our str, that is nothing but our final pattern we are going to print it over here, okay? Now We have understood each and everything, but let us understand in detail with the help of the working also how we are going to do. So I will write here what working, okay? Now let us come here and we will just take this first line, that is I is equal to 1. I should be less than or is equal to n and I plus plus, okay? So let us take this and we are just going to put it over here. Now we will substitute the values here, okay? So what it is, I is equal to 1. So 1 should be less than n is 4, right? So it will be 4 and I plus plus. So if you see this condition is turning out to be what? It is turning out to be true, right? So therefore now we will go to our J loop, okay? Because if this condition is going to be true, it is going to enter here, right? Now let us take this J. So J is equal to 1 and till here I will take it, okay? Now let us just put it over here and we are going to substitute the values. So this will be what? 1 and I is what? 1, right? So this I am going to put here 1. Now 1 is not less than 1, but 1 is equal to 1, right? Therefore, this condition is going to be what? It is turning out to be true and we are going to print here what? Our I value itself. That is nothing but our 1 we are going to print it over here. And after that, what will happen? Our J value is going to increase. So we will write here what? J is equal to 2. So we will write here 2 less than or is equal to 1, right? Because our I value is still the 1. But if you test this particular condition, 2 is not less than 1, neither is equal to 1, right? Therefore, it is going to be false, right? And here it is going to terminate, okay? And therefore, finally, in our str variable, what it is going to hold? It is going to hold only one time 1, okay? That is nothing but our I value. So this will be the end of our this execution. Now it will come to the next line and it will again go to our I loop. Now I value has incremented. Now it will be 2, right? So let us take this and we are just going to put it down, okay? Now let us come here and paste it here. Now if you see here what we have, I is equal to will be what? 2, right? And 2 is less than or is equal to 4, correct? Now if you see again this condition is true because 2 is less than 4, right? So I will write here what? True. Now since it is true, it is going to enter inside this loop and it is going to execute our J loop, right? So we will take this and we are just going to put it over here now one more time. And now let us see what the substitution will have. So J is equal to 1. So we will write here what? 1 should be less than or is equal to 2 because I value is 2 right now, correct? Now if you see the condition, 1 is less than 2, right? So that is where it will be true and it is going to print here what? 2 it is going to print because we are printing here what? Our I value, right? So we are going to get this. After that, what it is going to happen? It is going to increment our J value, right? So I will write here this. Now J will become what? 2. And here it will have 2 less than or is equal to 2. It is not less, but it is equal to 2, right? Therefore, we are going to get here what? True, right? And here it is going to print what? One more time 2, okay? After that, what will happen? Again, the loop is going to run. So it will become what? J is equal to 3. So we will write here what? J is equal to 3 and 3 less than or is equal to 2 because I value is still 2, right? But if you now test the condition, it is going to be false, okay? Because 3 is not less than 2, neither is equal to 2, right? And therefore, it is going to terminate here. So I will write here what? Terminate and our str variable will have what now? Str is equal to, we are going to have 2 times 2 here, right? So this will be our second time execution. Then the cursor will be taken to the next line, right? And then again our I loop is going to run, correct? So we will take this and we are going to now come down and we are going to put it over here. Now, if you see our I value has increased to 3, right? And here it will be what? 3 less than or is equal to 4. Again, the condition is still true, right? And therefore, it is going to go and execute our J loop, right? So we will take this and we are just going to put it over here now. So if you see now J is equal to 1, right? And here it will be what? 1 less than or is equal to 3, correct? So this condition is still true, right? So we will write here what? True. And what it is going to print now? It will be printing here 3, our I value, okay? That is what we have written here. After that, our j value is going to increase, right? Because the condition is true, and here it is written j plus plus, so it is going to increment. So I will write here what j is equal to 2 now, and it will be what 2 less than or is equal to, it will be 3, right? So this is what we are going to write. And now if you test the condition, it will be what? It is still true, right? Because 2 is less than 3, right? So we will write here what? True, and it is going to print what? 3 again. So this is what we are going to get. After that, it is again going to increment. So we will write here what? J will be is equal to 3. And then we will write here what? 3 less than or is equal to 3. It is not less, but it is equal to, right? So therefore, this condition is again true, right? And then it is going to print one more time here 3, okay? After that, our j value will increment again, okay? So we will put here what? J is equal to now 4, okay? So I will write here what? 4. 4 less than or is equal to I, that means 3. Now here the condition fails, okay? And therefore we are going to terminate here. And in our str variable, we will have here what? 3 times 3. So 3, 3, 3. Now, if you check the pattern above, till here we have successfully got it, okay? Now, one more time, what it will happen? It will go to the next line. And again, it is going to run our I loop, okay? So, we will come down and we are just going to take this and we are going to put it over here, correct? So, let us put it over here. Now, our I value will become what? 4, correct? And 4 less than or is equal to 4. It is not less, but it is equal to, right? And therefore, this condition is true. And therefore, it is going to run our J loop, okay? So, we will take this and we are just going to put it over here one more time. Now, let us see the execution for it. So, we have written here what? J is equal to 1. So, we will write here 1. What is the value of I? 4, right? So, if you test the condition, it is true, right? And therefore, what we are going to write here? We will write here T, okay? And it is going to print here what? 4. Because the condition is true, our I value it is going to print, right? Then again it is going to increment and we will write here what? J is equal to 2. Then 2 less than or is equal to 4, correct? Now, if we test the condition, 2 is less than 4, right? So, we will write here what? True, and then it is going to print again what? 4, right? After that, what it will happen? Again, it is going to increment and j value will become what? 3, right? And then we will write here 3 less than or is equal to 4. It is again true, correct? So, we are going to write here what? T, and it will print here what? Our I value, that is nothing but our 4, right? After that, what will happen? Our j value will again increment. So, we will write here what? J is equal to 4 and then 4 less than or is equal to 4 here. So here it is not less, but it is equal to, right? So therefore, again, this condition is going to be true, right? And it is going to print here what? One more time, 4, our I value, right? After that, what will happen? Again, our j value is going to increment, right? So we will write here what? J is equal to what? 5, okay? And if you now test the condition, 5 is less than or is equal to 4, it is false, right? So we will write here what? False, and here itself it is going to terminate. So I will write here what? Termination will happen here, and therefore what it will happen now? It is going to end here, and in our str variable, it is going to hold what now? 4 times 4. So I will write here what? 4 times 4. After that, again our I value is going to increment. So we are going to get here what? I is equal to 5, right? So I will just take this and I am going to put it over here. I is equal to 5 and it will be what? 5 less than or is equal to 4 because n value is 4. And if you now test it here, the condition fails, right? So condition is failing and therefore it is going to end here our both the loop. So it is going to end here. So the termination will happen here, okay? So that is what I am writing it here itself. So if you see here, we are getting our exact pattern, right? It is printing 1 time 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, right? Hope you have understood the working properly what we have done here. That is why I've written it and I have shown you each and everything in detail, okay? And it is going to end here and it will finally terminate. And after that, we are just going to print what? Our str variable with our pattern, okay? So that is what we are going to get, okay? Now let us come down and we are going to write our function, okay? So this everything now we are going to write inside our function. So before that, now let us just open the terminal. So I will come here and I will open this new terminal, okay? And to the right side, we have our terminal now, okay? Now let us come here to the left side one more time. And I will write here what function, and we are going to write here what print pattern is our function name, and let us invoke it, and I am going to pass the value as what here 4, okay? And now let us receive here inside this parameter n, and let us just test it. So I will write here what console.log of n, okay? Now let us go to the terminal and we are going to run our file, okay? So we will write here what node 05 challenge and we are going to hit enter. If you see, we are going to get here what 4 as an output. That is what is our execution demanding, right? Now after that, what we are going to do, we are going to create our str variable and we are going to initialize with an empty string. After that, we have to write our loops, right? So I will write here what for let I is equal to 1, I is less than or is equal to n, and I plus plus, right? Now our inner loop, that is our j loop. So for let j is equal to 1, and then j is going to end at where? It is going to end at our I. So less than or is equal to I, and j plus plus I will be writing it. Now inside this, we are going to concatenate our I value to this str variable, right? So here I will write what str plus is equal to our I, and here I will write what str plus is equal to double quotes backward slash n. So this is going to take our cursor to our next line to achieve our exact pattern, okay? Now let us come here and we are just going to console our str. Now let us see what do we get. So I will write here what console.log str. So let us come here, clear it up, and we will write here what node 05 pattern.js, and if you see, we are getting our exact, okay? Now if I just comment this out and if I show you here, let me clear it up. So node 05 pattern.js, you can see we are getting the pattern, but we are getting in a same line, right? And now if you just add this, then what it is going to have, let us see. So node 05 pattern.js, you can see we are getting here our exact pattern. But we can see here there is an additional one more cursor coming down, right? So for that, we will use our trim method. So I will write here what trim with an parenthesis. So this will remove our additional spaces, okay? Now let us rerun it one more time, node 05 pattern.js. And if you see now, the spaces has been removed and we are getting our desired pattern, okay? So let us just comment this out, line number 55, and let us clear the terminal now one more time. And let us rerun it. So node 05 pattern.js, and we are able to get our exact pattern, okay? So that is what our question was demanding, and we have done the same, okay? Now let us have a quick recap of this particular question. So let us come above and we will read out the question. So our question is what? Write a JavaScript function to print a right angle triangle, right? And here is our output which we have to do, right? And then we came down at line number 8 and 9, and what we did, we just wrote the important part of this question and we defined here what? Our function name, right? Then we understood that what will be the approach, right? So we wrote the approach also, and we understood that we have to print here what? Our row values, that is nothing but our I values, right? So for that, what we have done, we created a variable which is going to hold our final pattern, right? So this is going to be our str variable and we are initializing with an empty string. Then whenever we are using our pattern problems, we have to use our nested loops, right? Loop inside a loop is called as a nested loop, and here we needed two loops, right? Outer and inner, correct? So our I loop and j loop. Then we came down and we identified how many rows we have, how many columns we have. Then at line number 24 and 25, we understood what will be the start point, what will be the end point. And we also wrote what is the conditions we are going to write it inside our loops, right? Then we wrote here our entire execution with respect to our for loop, right? And we understood that we have to print here the I value. So we were concatenating only the I value to our str variable. And after this loop is executed, then we are taking our cursor to our next line by adding here what /n, that is nothing but our next line. And once everything is done, we are going to finally print our entire pattern, right? So that is what we have written. Now, on the basis of this, we wrote our entire working also. So if you see, we have understood what will happen when I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, and I is equal to 4 in detail, okay? And after that, we understood that when I becomes 5, it will be the end of the loop and the termination is going to happen. And after everything, we are just going to print our str variable, which is holding our final output, right? Then we came down and same thing we wrote inside our function also. So we wrote here what function print pattern end, and we consoled here our end to test that whether it has been able to access this n or not, right? Then at line number 56, we created here an variable str. We wrote here our for loop. We did our concatenation, right? We also understood that if we are not adding this particular line, it will print in a same line, right? So then we added this and we consoled and we checked also, right? After that, we came down at line number 63 and we consoled our str variable, but it was taking one more cursor down, right? So for that purpose, what did we added here a trim method for that, right? Then finally at line number 65, we invoked here our function and we were passing here the value as 4, which was able to receive in our parameter, and it was able to access it and complete the entire execution inside our function, okay? Let us come here and clear the terminal and rerun it one more time. So I will write here what node05 pattern.js, and you can see we are getting here exact answer, exact pattern, what was needed, right? Now, what I want is from you all guys, try experimenting this with different values of n and let me know your results in the comment. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more programming tutorials, and I will see you in the next one. So till then, keep coding, keep learning, keep growing, and thank you so much guys. Take care.